Welcome to Social Influence, Lesson 4, Variables Affecting Conformity, including group size, unanimity, and task difficulty. My name is Nick Redshaw, and I have over 16 years of experience teaching A-level psychology. I'm also co-author of the highly successful Independent Learner series of student workbooks that is available on Amazon. Variables Affecting Conformity. From Ash's original research, further studies were conducted to investigate other variables that may affect levels of conformity. These include the size of the majority. As group increased, so did conformity levels. Ash found when one person majority had no real effect on conformity, two confederates in the majority produced 13% of errors, and three confederates produced 33% of errors. Further confederates did not lead to a further increase in conformity. Unanimity, i.e. majority agreement. Ash found that when a majority was in agreement, the naive participant felt isolated and conformity increased. Ash broke unanimity by introducing a stooge who answered just before the naive participant and gave a different answer to the majority. He found that this reduced conformity to around 5.5%, even when the stooge gave a different wrong answer. Task difficulty, how hard the task is. Ash found that the harder the task, the greater the conformity. Ash made the line judging task more ambiguous by making the stimulus line and comparison lines more similar in length. He found that in all cases, conformity increased. Okay, so now I'd like you to have a go at this question. When the tasks were made more ambiguous, the participants looked to others for guidance. Choose the most appropriate explanation of social influence for this behavior. Is it normative or informational social influence? Okay, have a little think. Okay, so hopefully you said informational social influence. As the participants looked to others for guidance, they were seeking information. Okay, so in all of Ash's research, you need to be able to evaluate Ash's research. And all the research has the same evaluation points. Strengths. Ash carried out a lab experiment, so it was highly controlled, therefore cause and effect can be determined. The techniques used are easy to replicate, and so it has high reliability. The study provided quantitative data that was subject to statistical analysis that was found to be significant. The findings show the importance of consistency in social influence, leading to greater understanding of decision-making and social interaction. Limitation of Ash's research. There are ethical issues as the experiment uses confederates, so there is deception and informed consent cannot be given. In addition, the participants might have felt embarrassed and under pressure, so protection from harm is an issue in this study. The study lacks mundane realism, as the lab environment and the task involved are not true to everyday life, so issues of construct validity and ecological validity are a concern. Further to this, and by way of further evaluation, further studies have questioned whether the observed effects and conclusions of Ash's research can be applied accurately to the real world. As we have already discussed, research findings should have external validity, which is measured in the following way. Ecological validity. Can the findings be generalized to situations outside the environment created by the researcher? Ash's study only tested male participants, so it's difficult to generalize the findings to both male and females. In fact, other research suggests that women might be more conformist than men. Therefore, Ash's research could be gender biased. Ash's study was carried out using American participants, so there may be cultural issues with generalizing the findings. Smith and Bond in 1996 illustrates that individualistic cultures such as the USA are more concerned about themselves than their social group. In comparison, studies carried out in collectivist cultures such as China found that individuals were more conformist. Temporal validity. How did the time period in which the research was carried out affect the findings? Ash's research was carried out in the 1950s, when America was a more conformist society, and may not have the same relevance today. Perrin and Spencer in 1980 repeated Ash's original study with UK students and found that only one student conformed in a total of 396 trials. They concluded that people are less conformist than in the 1950s. So far, you've only been asked to answer short questions. In the exam, you'll be asked to answer an extended response question. The specification outlines that an extended response is evidence of sufficient length generated to allow students to demonstrate their ability to construct and develop a sustained line of reasoning which is coherent, relevant, substantiated, and logically structured. Questions in general follow two styles: describe, outline and evaluate research studies, or discuss explanations of behaviour and refer to the scenario given in the exam question. In the first one, it's 12 marks of AO1 6 marks and AO3 6 marks. If you're still studying the full A level, this would be AO1 6 and AO3 10. In the second bullet point, 12 marks AO1 6, AO2 2 and AO3 4. In the full A level, this would be AO1 6, so that would stay the same, AO2 4 and AO3 6. Okay, so not a massive increase from AS or the first year to the second year. All extended response questions follow a similar pattern and format and will require you to demonstrate at least two of the following three skills. AO1, demonstrate knowledge and understanding of scientific ideas, processes, techniques and procedures. Here, you need to describe the study, theory, explanation in as much detail as possible. Don't be tempted to include all the detail you have learned. Keep it concise and to the point. The next criteria, AO2, apply knowledge and understanding of scientific ideas, processes, techniques and procedures. Here, apply the theories or explanations to the information given in the scenario. Simply explain why they are behaving in a particular way using the study, theory or explanation. AO3, analysis, interpret and evaluate scientific information, ideas and evidence, including in relation to issues. So here, formulate conclusions from data provided in the question, evaluate the strength and limitations of studies, theories and explanations, use evidence to support or contradict studies, theories and explanations, or relevant links to other studies, theories and explanations. So, here you have a homework and independent task. Andy is a first-year engineering student carrying out research with third-year students. In one critical task he goes along with the majority, even though he disagrees with your answer. Discuss Ash's research into conformity. Refer to the experience of Andy as part of your discussion for 12 marks. If you're doing the full A level, this would be 16 marks, and AO1 would be worth 6, AO2 would be worth 4, and AO3 would be worth 6. Okay, so we're going to discuss this a little bit further before we finish. Okay, so from mine and Mrs. Redshaw's student workbook, you've got this. Obviously, as from the PowerPoint, Andy is a first-year engineering student carrying out research. Discuss Ash's research into conformity and refer to the experience of Andy as part of your discussion. So here, we've got it sort of set out for the full A level. AO1, 6 marks, AO2, 4 marks, and AO3, 6 marks. To reach the top level 4, which you should be aiming for, knowledge of research into conformity is accurate and generally well detailed, and related appropriately to Andy's experiences in the STEM. Discussion is thorough and effective, and the answer is clear and organised. Specialist terminology is used effectively. As we come down the actual levels, if we look at level 2, which is pretty much where most students end up, round about the 80 marks mark, knowledge of research into conformity is present, focuses mainly on description, a common mistake by students. Any discussion is only partly effective into Andy's experiences. The answers lack clarity, accuracy, organisation in places, specialist terminology used inappropriately or on occasions. So basically, to get the actual 6 marks of AO1, if we come down, if we take a look here, for AO1, your possible content needs to include up to 6 marks for knowledge and understanding of key factors and variables leading to conformity. Description of procedures, methods, findings and/or conclusions of Ash's original 1951 study and the additional research carried out into the variables affecting conformity for 6 marks. Nice and easy, just description of procedures and methods, findings and conclusions. Nice and simple. 6 easy marks. AO2, possible application points. So here, 4 marks for application of knowledge to the STEM. So explain Andy's behaviour in relation to the types of social influence, i.e. internalisation, identification, compliance, explanations of social influence, informational and normative in the context of the variables affecting conformity and the original study. So in the case of Andy, I mean, he's a first year student and he's working with third year students, so he's probably going to look to them for information, for knowledge, so that would be informational influence. In addition, he doesn't want to look stupid, he doesn't want to sort of not fit in, so that would be normative social influence. So you've got an interplay between the two. So just explain it in relation to Andy's behaviour and the actual knowledge base. Now, AO3 is where students struggle. So up to 6 marks for the discussion, including analysis, evaluation and application of knowledge. So we've already mentioned relevant ethical issues and how these arose in the studies, i.e. deception, informed consent, protection from harm, etc. Counter-arguments such as why deception or other unethical procedures were necessary to reduce prevent demand characteristics and thus increase validity. Nice, easy stuff. Relevant methodological issues such as validity, including temporal validity, sample bias, demand characteristics, internal validity. And myself and Mrs. Redshaw took all of these kind of things from the AQA schemes of work. And we looked across, many kind of essays and many mark schemes to actually come up with this. Counter-arguments, e.g. justification for methodological shortcomings, artificial procedures, can have real-world relevance, studies were replicated with different samples and cultures, procedures designed to address ethical issues, use of debriefing, retrospective consent, cost-benefit analysis of methodological issues. 6 bullet points there will get you sort of the 6 marks. Obviously, in addition, there's the strengths and weaknesses of lab experiments and so on and so on and so on. Okay, so nice, simple, nice essay. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this lesson. So hopefully I'll see you for the next lessons when we begin to look at Milgram's research and then go on to Zimbardo's research and then social influence and how it affects social change.